We talked about what you see is what you get, is who you are. And we talked about how the Meraglim, the spies, really saw in the land of Israel an extension of self. They looked and they saw an extension of self. They were asked to go into the land to prepare the land for the Jewish people. Because a tzaddik makes a roshim. A tzaddik makes an impression on a place. Many people vie for the honor when a great tzaddik comes to town, that they should be able to afford him hospitality. That he should even just come into the house and make a blessing in the house. That he should put the mezuzah on the house. Now, why is it considered a great privilege that a tzaddik was in the house? Or that a tzaddik made a blessing in a house? And the answer is the presence of a tzaddik, as the Torah tells us, when Yaakov left his father's home. Vayetze Yaakov mi Be'er Shava. The Torah makes a point of telling us he left. Because the yitzia of a tzaddik from a place leaves a rosham, it leaves an impression. He provides hoida, ziva, hadara, light, glory, goodness, radiance. And those that are spiritually sensitive can actually feel the vibrations of the tzaddik's presence years after his departure. His eminence emanates positivity. We are drawn to the energy in each place that we are in. As it is written, Rambam tells us in Hilchos Deis that there is no more profound, subtle impact on our behavior than our environment. The environment is very important. And so we are all supposed to be really environmentalists. Not progressive environmentalists, necessarily. We're supposed to be environmentalists in ensuring that our environment is spiritually secure. Because if someone does something wrong in a place, it corrupts the place. It provides an unhealthy spiritual energy to the place. And if someone does a mitzvah in a place, they feel the goodness is to be felt long after. I've said this many times before, but the Chazon Ish used to go for a walk around the block every day from his house. His doctors prescribed for him exercise. He had to go for a walk. And people used to vie for the honor. There was a list who would walk with the Chazon Ish around the block. My uncle, he should live and be well, once had the merit of being able to walk around the block. He prepared a month before to exactly what he's going to talk about the Chazon Ish, with the Chazon Ish in those 15, 20 minutes. And the Chazon Ish stopped at a corner, round the corner from his house. And he stopped for a while. He said, it smells so good over here. And then he moved on. And the Bacher was intrigued. Why would the Chazon Ish feel that it smells so good at this corner? He didn't notice any perfume shops in the neighborhood. He didn't think that there was anything distinct about the place. And when he walked the Chazon Ish home, he came back to the place, and across the road from the corner there was a little kiosk. They had in Israel all over, they had little kiosks selling cigarettes and candies and gum and tobacco or whatever it was. And he went over to the Yid over there and that was running the kiosk, and he said, did you see anything interesting on this street corner today? Chazon Ish said there was something good happening there. And he looked at him, he laughed, he didn't know what he was. And then he said, before the Chazon Ish walked around, he walked around 2:30. During lunchtime, during the lunch break, there were two boys from Panovich, and they stopped at that corner. They met at that corner, and they were going over the Shia of the morning with great enthusiasm and arguing over certain points that they heard. And they were there for a while. And then they moved on. The Chazon Ish comes a short while later, and he can actually detect the spiritual fragrance in the air. His fine senses, his receptors pick it up. The whole reason the commentaries tell us that Joseph went first down to Egypt and he lived there in great spiritual constraints and he rose to prominence and maintained his spiritual connectivity intact in the face of such promiscuity and such challenge was all to prepare the Jewish people. A pathway had been forged. They were now capable of attaining his level. He'd weakened the clipper, the shell, so to speak, the concealing, insulating force that made it so difficult to live in Mitzrayim as a Jew. Joseph prepared the way. And so too the Jews asked for meraglim. Shlach lecha anoshim, send please for us the greatest of the great. If the Nesiim, the heads of each tribe, go into the land of Israel, they will now be preparing the way for the entire Jewish people. They'll be ready to step into the land and pull the sails into the land. Do you know, in Devarim, Moshe warns the Jewish people again and again and again and again. You're going to go into the land and you're going to be led astray and you're going to be tempted to worship idols. Don't let your hearts be led astray. The whole Sefer Devarim is full of warnings and admonishments, preparing the Jewish people before they enter into the land of Israel. Because they have to live a life of emunah in a land that is dark and concealed. They have to go into Manhattan on a hot summer's day, every day, in the elevator, wherever they walk. They're confronted with blandishments and temptations in the cubicle, right next to their workstation, on the screen, in their pocket. And they have to stay strong and connected. Big challenge. Moshe Rabbeinu warns them again and again, choose life. And he tells them, you're going to enter the land of Israel. Batiru, and you are going to see es shikutsehem ve'es giluleim. You're going to see their shikutseim and their giluleim. Eitz va'evan. Kesef v'zav Hashem. You're going to see shikutseim and giluleim. Does anybody know what shikutseim and giluleim means? Shikutseim is shiksa. Shekets is reptiles. Yuck. Giluleim, you know what giluleim is? Animal dung. You ever walked on a farm and by mistake your foot stepped into a Yorkshire pudding? Nah, it's horrible. It's manure. Eitz v'evan, wood and stone, silver and gold. You're going to see it all, lest your heart be led astray from Hashem your God. And you say in your heart, if only I could serve these idols, God will not forgive you. We read it all in the Tzavim. Moshe Rabbeinu, the last day of his life, gives over this powerful admonishment and warning. Don't get close to the electric fence. Now, what are they going to see? Are they going to see shikutseim and giluleim? Are they going to see animal dung? Or are they going to see silver and gold? Or is it going to be just wood and stone? And Chaim's laughing already because Chaim knows the answer. At the beginning, you're going to come into the land of Israel and you're going to see the covers of their magazines and you're going to see the way they live. And that's like reptile behavior. That's like acting out on the lowest, basest animal instincts without any inhibition, without any embarrassment. It's going to be yuck. It will be pure physical material. There's no spirituality. It's like dung. It smells. It's going to be repulsive. But before long, it becomes wood and stone, becomes inanimate. That's their lifestyle. This is my lifestyle. We become inured and immune to feeling any element of disgust. And within a little time, it becomes a celebrated lifestyle. Kesef Azov, silver and gold, Hashem, that's with them. We can't have lost the desire to be able to express our instincts freely and live the gay life, the big life, the good life, seemingly. God forbid. Pen yesh bachem, ish oy isha asher levovoi poine hayoim me'im Hashem elikecha. The land has been saturated with the corrupting influences of the Amorites and the Canaanites. And the Jewish people were rightly afraid. We need to be able to go into the land and see God in the land. We spoke yesterday how Moses prepared Yehoshua, and this is the preparation that we all have to take because we're all meraglim, we're all spies. We're all sent down here to this world to traverse the land with all its seemingly exciting distractions. And we've got to stay the course in order to be able to get over this midbar, this wilderness, this ocean, to the promised land on the other side. How do we do it? Moshe says to Yoshua, Ka! Yoshiacha me'asas meraglim. Ka. We talked yesterday about how affirming the neshama as the essence of my being is what helps secure us and save us. We find in the words of Moshe Rabbeinu again and again, he says, go into the land and see es ha'oretz mahi, the land Mahi, what is it? And the people that are on the land, are they strong, are they weak, are they small, are they large? Umah ha'aretz. And what is the land? This word keeps recurring, memhei. Umah ha'arim. And what are the cities? Umah ha'aretz hashmenihi. And what is the land? Is it fat or not? Seek out the ma. Do you know what ma means? Ma is connected to man. Ma is... Do you know what Moshe said to the Jewish people when they led an insurrection against him and Aaron? He said, V'nachnu ma. And what are we? Who are we? You know, we think our bodies need to be given indulgence and expression. And we celebrate our external. And we indulge our ego. It's all ma. What is it? It's nothing. Moshe Rabbeinu realized the level of truly ma. He was an Onav Moed Mikol Adam. He was the most humble because he had pure faith. He just saw God. The Ka, the godliness, is what is Yoshiacha, is what secures us and saves us from the Eitzah, from all those vibrations and noises and pulls. Meraglim, we have certain hergelim. The body has certain natural inclinations. Regel is the foot. The foot keeps moving. Constant motion. And it keeps on swinging us along. And we feel a little helpless. Sometimes we're happy with the pendulum. Sometimes we're sad. Sometimes we're excited. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're just all jazzed about something. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're angry. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're all souped up, our hormones. Sometimes we're not. The body has certain hergelim. But we've got to maintain a steady look. We're en route to our end destination that defines us. Let the body swing. That doesn't define me. That will not distract me. And that happens when we're connected to the Ka. We're connected to the Ma. And these 12 great men were to enter the land of Israel and persevere and penetrate the veil. They were for 40 days. Just like us, you know, our embryo is created in 40 days. 40 is our material existence. They had to come down to this world, to the land of Israel, where the holiness is so hidden and concealed, but it's all there. And penetrate and see the goodness. It's a reflection of our entire existence down here in this world. We're all meraglim. We're all spies. And we've got to put on the right goggles so that when we Google, instead of being pulled to the wrong sites and seeing the wrong images, we see creating creation. We see who we are in all its shining glory. We see the real picture. The land of Israel is so good. Kalev gets up. And after the spies give their chilling report and the people are feeling disheartened and complaining, Kalev stands up and he says, Toiva ha'aretz ma'oid ma'oid. The land is very, very good. They don't want to hear it. And the great Sfarim say, do you know why Kalev saw Tova Haaretz Mo'od Mo'od, that the land is very, very good? He meant to say it's very, very good inside. On outside it may not seem so good. It may seem like fortified cities, impenetrable forces and fortresses, scary. But the land is very, very good inside. Do you know how you get to that land that's very, very good? We just read last week in the parasha, V'ha'ish Moshe, the man of Moshe was an on of Moed, he was very humble. And when you're very humble, when you have Ma, you only see good. Ma'oid, ma'oid, hevesh faruach. The Mishnah says, be very, very humble, be exceedingly humble. Break the shell. Ma'oid, ma'oid, hevesh faruach. Be very, very humble. And then we see Tova ha'aretz ma'od ma'od. The land is very, very good. See, if we're not so humble and we're desirous of everything that comes our way, so we're walking down the street and we are pulled asway, it would be nice to drive that nice 540 horsepower limited edition Audi convertible. Oh, it pulls at the heartstrings, and we do lust, desire, cravings. And what happens if we're happy and we see goodness and we're delighted other people should have? The world is good. Everything's good. Humility. Toifa ha'aretz moed moed. It's all good. God is everywhere. Instead of being jealous of the owner of that snazzy automobile, I can rather look at it and appreciate its sleek lines. Piece of art. Wonderful. Wow, how nice. That's so nice. Wow, this is the 2015. They changed the grille on the side a little bit, the fins and the back, the lights. It looks really, those LED lights, that looks really, really sharp. That is so nice. I'm so happy. It's such a beauty to be able to see it. I have to have it. The world is beautiful. Everything's beautiful. When there's no eye, I can see God everywhere. Everywhere. Toiva ha'aretz moed moed. There was a great, great tzaddik called the Kaliska. He was actually originally a Talmud of the Vilna Gaon, of Rome of Kalisk. Became a chassid of the Maggid, and he went up to the land of Israel. I'm sorry, not the Kalisk, I'm talking about the Bas Ayin. It was a later tzaddik who went up to the land of Israel, and he lived in Safat. He wrote a famous sefer called Bas Ayin, the Mevorach, a very, very great tzaddik. And he writes in a letter to his compatriots in Poland He writes them a letter. When he first came to the land of Israel, the land was so difficult. We have no idea. The first wave of Yidden that came in the 1840s and 1850s, the challenges, the suffering they endured, the plagues, the malaria, the Arab populace, the poverty, it was mind-blowing. And in his first letter back, he wrote, whoa, this is really hard. The land is very tough. In his second letter back, he said, it's starting to get a little bit lighter. I'm starting to see a little bit more. In his third letter back to his fellow co-religionists, he writes back words that are absolutely, he says, every stone glows and glistens with Hashem's presence. And he writes effusively about the beauty and the kedusha of the land of Israel. See, if one goes to Israel and right away says, it's wonderful, that's not real. It's not going to take very long before a taxi driver gyps you off, or you have to deal with some bureaucracy over there, or you get pushed to the back of the line in the bus stop, and you have to wait till the third bus till you actually can push your way on board, screaming, Aga! We had a little saying, we went with our family. This is a couple of years ago. We were there. 3 years ago, I think it was for my son Svi's wedding, 4 years ago. We were there. We were trying to get from Jerusalem to Bnei Brak. Nice, good American kids who were standing at the bus stop. The bus comes and they come like swarms. Everybody swarms onto the bus, no line. And we lost the first bus, and we were waiting another 15 minutes in the heat. And the second bus we tried, I couldn't get them on. About the third bus, I jumped on like a lion to the front of the bus. I held my hands at the front. אנחנו היינו פה קודם, פה, פה, פה. I took each kid by the neck and put them on the bus. And it became like a mantra. אנחנו היינו פה קודם, like a real American thing. They're all, מה קורה, מה? But you learn survival skills over there. There's no other way. And you say, hey, this ain't so pretty. Beautiful. The land is beautiful. The land is beautiful. It glistens. Sometimes I go with my children in the street in Eretz Yisrael, and we just go to a regular wall and kiss the Jerusalem stone, just on the wall, on the side of the street. And they know to do it too. Because every stone in Jerusalem is glistening. It may be hot. The people may be subjected to such a difficult, challenging life and conditions. They have to fight for their existence. They're surrounded by enemies. Yerushalayim Horim Sovev Lo. Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains. Kedusha is surrounded by concealment. The land of Israel is very concealed. But if we have the right goggles, if we train ourselves to see beyond all the challenge and difficulty, it's glistening. But for that, we can't have expectations. We can't become like an American tourist. And we need our air-conditioned, today the apartments come all souped up for Americans with electric shutters, heated floors. You can't go, on the balatim, on the tiles. In Israel, they have tiles. That's not made for carpets. It's so dusty. So for the Americans, you press a button, you wake up in the morning, and your entire floor is just nice and warm. Penthouse apartments, all the mod cons. Missing the boat. We're missing the boat! There's no tzugat light. There's tzugat when we want to see God. When we see God inside ourselves. Chaim, you want to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what happens if someone has like a rock quarry in Israel, like a stone quarry, and they're exporting all the rocks from Israel? It's their parnasa to export.
Wonderful. They should make a lot of money. There's enough rocks in Israel, in Mirz Hashem, to build skyscrapers and beautiful homes and beautiful shuls for every Yid.
Yeah.
For every Yid. You look in Yerushalayim, it's fascinating. The quarries around today, they have archaeological digs. They can't figure out, you have to go in the coastal tunnels, there's a stone there that is so big and weighs so many tons. They have no idea how Shlomo HaMelech's artisans, they cannot figure out, with the biggest cranes, they can't figure out how they used that rock and rolled it into place in the wall. They can't figure it out. It's subject to a big discussion. You go on the coastal tunnel tours, you listen to the guide, you see it there. It is like bigger than a house, a rock. Massive, huh? You've been?
There, yeah.
You there? They can't figure it out. There's plenty of rock there. They haven't yet touched the rock. You go all the way to Hebron, you see all the quarries. It's just endless. Baruch Hashem, there will be place for everybody. We've got to chisel away at the old blocks so that we can bring out the inner light. Because what we are inside is what we see outside, and that's our challenge. We always see ourselves, and when we see ourselves, we see outside. Everything is blurry. It's not clear. It's only an extension of self. The Meraglim saw themselves subtly, subconsciously. They had a self-interest to stay in the wilderness. They knew there's a new Anog in the land of Israel. They won't have their position. Without it, it's so subliminal. I'm sure they had no idea that there was self-interests that caused them to see the material, the physical in the land. But they were living to some degree in the physical domain themselves, and so they saw the physical outside of themselves. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. We have to see spiritual goodness. Let me just tell Reuven, I'm sorry that I am in a meeting. I'm finishing my shir in 10 minutes. It's someone who's got them into a school interview, and I'm supposed to be in touch with them. Yeah, Reuven, I'm just finishing my shir in about 8 minutes. I can call you back in 8 minutes?
You can try. It should be fine. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, then I'll contact you.
Very good. Shkach. Let's chip away at the old block. You know, at the end of this week's Parsha, we have a Parsha called the Parsha of Tzitzis. We're given a mitzvah of Tzitzis. Fascinating mitzvah. Torah says, comes at the end of Shlach Lecha. There's a reason why it's here in this Parsha. Hashem says to Moshe to speak to the Jewish people and tell them that they should make for themselves tzitzits on the corner of their garments for all future generations. They should put the tzitzits on the corner, on each corner, with a psil tcheles, with a little thread of blue. V'haya lachem l'tzitzis, and it should be for you as tzitzis. And you should see it, and you can remember all the mitzvahs of Hashem. And it should be for you as tzitzis. What does that mean? What is the purpose of this?
On the root like sits.
Comes from the root sits. The Rebbeinu Shalom's peeking at us. Meitzitz min hacharakim mashgiach min hachaloinus. The Rebbeinu Shalom is mashgiach. He's looking at us. He's watching us from the windows. Sometimes we don't see the windows. But you know what? He's meitzitz. He's peeking at us min hacharakim, from the cracks. And this teaches us that the Rebbeinu Shalom is connected to us. You see, the four-cornered garment is a reflection of the material world. It covers, it conceals, It has dimensions like four corners. A keren, a corner, reflects a material dimension, a diminishment and a concealment of the divine. The divine is infinite. This world is a bias. It's like a base. It's like a deles, a door, north, south, east, west, has polarities. And yet in the material dimensions of this world there is godliness. And in the godliness there's godliness. Tova haaretz ma'od ma'od. The land is very, very good. Ma'od adds up to ma. Ves haaretz mahi. We have to have a double ma. Ma'od ma'od. Constantly. Tzitzis, great gift. Keep them out. We have a little psil tcheles, little blue in the tzitzis. Constant reminder. We're constantly getting reconnected to the source. The blue connects us to the sea, connects us to the sky, connects us to the heavenly throne. We're back on track. It may seem like a very weak connection. But if we're connected to the heavenly throne, then we'll automatically find a way back there. Just need to get back on track. Talked about it before. We have to know that we're all got a heavenly throne up here. This is our heavenly throne. And all we need to do is find eitzes, ways, pathways, little ways of being able to constantly realign, recalibrate, and reconnect, so that this is the source of our existence, so that we can experience a ka yoshi acha, that we can see God and godliness in a material world, in a physical world, that we're undeterred by the big challenges that we confront in our daily lives. And then we can step out, bold, strong, courageous, with purpose, and in Mitzvah Hashem will all come to the world. The Olam Shekol Shabbos. Good Shabbos, everybody.
That's Rabbi.
Thank you.